So what came first, the chicken or the egg? I saw a study the other day, and they think they've proven which one it is. I don't remember what it was because that kind of stuff just doesn't matter to me. But this week I had one of those chicken or the egg moments. It's like, what came first? And these two things seem unrelated, but it's going to hopefully all come together by the end. The first thing that I'm going to talk about, and I'm not sure whether it was first or second that popped in, is the Three Little Pigs. And it's not just the regular Three Little Pigs. This is the Looney Tunes version from 1957, I believe it was, of the Three Little Bops is what they called it. And these pigs were little jazz dudes. One of them played the guitar, one played the drums, one played the piano. And they were going into the different nightclubs and doing the kind of the beatnik type feel to it all. And they were in the one nightclub, and the wolf came in, and he wanted to be a part of it because it was just so grooving. You know, they were really, really turning on some great music. And the wolf pulls out a trumpet, and he lets loose with the big toot on that horn, and it was so awful, they threw him out. Well, he got mad, so he comes back, and he gets his horn back out, and he blows, and the house, or the club of straw goes away. And so everybody just kind of keeps their little rhythm going, and they bebop on down the road to the nightclub of sticks. And I don't know if that's what they call it, but that's what we're going to call it today. Same thing, man. The crowd's into it. The Three Little Bops are up there just jamming and having a great time. The music is really grooving, and the wolf comes in. He gets so into it, he just volunteers himself again. He jumps up on stage, pulls out that horn, and lets out this just horrible screech. They pick him up. They throw him out again. And he comes back around with this horn, and he blows. He's going to show them, and he blows, and he knocks the house down. So they all take off, and they just scurry on down the road, and they're not fazed by it at all. You know, they just kind of stay in the rhythm. And they go down to the nightclub of bricks. And we all know what's going to happen. Here comes the wolf. Well, they have a sign on the door that says, "No wolves allowed." He's furious. He's trying to figure out what he's going to do. And he decides, I'm going to sneak in. I'm going to go in disguise. And so he puts on one of the big long fur coats that some of the guys back then used to wear, and he had the hat pulled down low so nobody could see him. And he goes walking in there, and he's got the groove on, and he's dancing, and one of the little pigs sees what's going on, throws a banana peel out, and he slides right out the back door. They lock him out, and they just go on with their party. So he's going to fix them this time. He's going to really get them. And he gets a big old keg of dynamite, and he tries to light it up close to the building, and they blow the match out. So he carries it out, he lights it, and he comes walking about halfway back in. It blows up and sends him off, and in this show, it sends him to hell, and he's down there, and he's playing a beautiful tune on the trumpet. And they said, "So you got to be hot to be cool." It was the end of the story. Now, that's one story. The other story that's part of this chicken or the egg, what came first, I'm not sure, because every time I think of one, I think of the other. The other one is the parable and I don't know how I go to these two places. The other one is the parable that Jesus tells about building, the wise and the foolish builders, building on a foundation of rock or building on a foundation of sand. Okay? Now, trust me, this is all going to tie together here in a minute. Let me start off by reading this. Instead of just telling the story like I did the pigs here, I'm going to just read this to you. Jesus says, "Everyone who comes to me and hears my words and acts on them, I will show you whom he is like. He is like the man building a house who dug deep and laid a foundation on the rock. And when a flood occurred, the torrent burst against that house and could not shake it because it had been built well. But then the one who has heard and has not acted accordingly is like a man who built a house on the ground without any foundation. And the torrent burst against it, and immediately it collapsed, and the ruin of that house was great." Jesus is telling us that we have to do more than just study. You know, we can go to church every time the doors open. We can pick up this Bible and read it over and over and over and over again. and I'm going to sidetrack just a moment here. I've actually got some friends and family who can quote just about every word in here, yet they live their life from a place of fear. This right here, that's a book of empowerment, folks. That's not a book of fear. This book does not say, anytime something goes wrong in your life, you got to wait for this book to answer your questions. You have to wait on this book to take care of it for you. This book gives you what you need to deal with that. Okay? Now, here's where I'm going to get kind of blasphemous, according to these friends and family. There are other books that do it as well. We study The Way of Mastery. That book gives us empowerment. That book teaches us what Jesus taught without the religious doctrine. Jesus was telling us, you take what you learn and use it. Apply it. And in that you build a strong foundation. When you apply what you learn, when you apply the Christ mind, when you accept your oneness with God and live that way, you are building a foundation that will withstand anything that comes at you. Anything. Jesus does not say, listen to what I say and then sit back and wait for me to do it for you. He never said that. He said, listen to what I say and then do as I do. Jesus knew what the Christ mind was all about. Okay? And just to refresh memories, I'm sure you all know this, Jesus' name is not Jesus Christ. He was Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus the Christ. Okay? That's very important to know, because when we get stuck in that belief system that Jesus Christ was his name, we also get stuck in that belief system that he was the only one capable of doing that. He was the only one capable of having that connection with God. And yet Jesus tells us through the Bible and through the other books that we read that he is showing us how we can live. Okay? There are some other great teachers out there, and kind of stepping back off onto that sidetrack again, I got in trouble not too long ago from these family and friends who know this book way better than I do, because I put a post up on Facebook from Buddha. I got in trouble for that. It was a beautiful quote. I wish I could remember now what it was. It was something that you could, it was about meditation. It was about meditation. It was, Buddha said, how did the world change? I'm forgetting it. How did the world change due to meditation? He said the world did not, but I did. I was able to, what do you gain? Here it is. I knew it'd come back to me. Buddha was asked, what do you gain by meditation? He said, I gain nothing, but I lose pain, intolerance, sadness, depression. It had a whole laundry list. I got in trouble for that. I had posts coming at me because I was quoting Buddha instead of quoting Jesus. I in no way said that Buddha took the place of Jesus. I in no way said that Buddha was above Jesus or vice versa or anything. I simply quoted a beautiful quote. And if you read a lot of the red letters, I love what Luana calls it. When you read the red letters, you will see that Jesus had either some influences from the Eastern teachings, and history is starting to show that Jesus really traveled over into India and studied with these folks. I don't know whether that's true or not, but the truth is that Jesus was saying some things that were very similar to people who talked and taught thousands of years before. So back to the story. Jesus showed us how we could live. And if we apply that, whether it's his words or other words of love, when we apply that, when we deepen our connection to God, when we deepen that oneness, we're building a foundation that will withstand whatever this world throws at us. But if we just read it with a very closed mind and a very closed heart, we are building on sand. We might be able to quote every word in here, but in all honesty, this book right here, and when you just study the book and you don't apply what's in it, whether it's the Bible or any other book, you are doing nothing but hoping that this piece of paper can protect you. You've got to apply it. You've got to bring it into your heart. You've got to believe and know what it's teaching, and this book is teaching oneness and love. So that's the part about the foundation. Now, there are some people out there that do like to study other books that may or may not, and I'm not here to judge, okay, that may or may not take us to love and oneness. Those are the folks that are just kind of, that. Now we're back to the pigs. Those are the folks who are building their house out of straw and out of sticks. Okay? We have to be sure that what we are studying and what we are believing and what we are owning is the truth. And if it's teaching you anything other than love and oneness, it's not your truth. It's not your truth. You're building something that will fall apart the first time something comes along to test it. In order to build that house of brick upon that foundation of stone, you've got to take the love and the oneness of the teachings of Christ and some of the other great traditional thinkers, because there were many that taught love and oneness. Take those and start shaping your life with that. There's not a to-do list on how to make that happen. You have to feel it. I imagine you feel it every time you set foot in your sewing room. That is a work of divine love. There's no way you could do the beautiful things you do if that weren't true. Okay? So that's how you express it in your life. You are building a beautiful home on a beautiful rock foundation that's going to last you beyond this physical plane. It's going to go on and on and on. That's what the three little pigs and Christ's message mean to me. Build something that you can hold on to forever. And the love, oneness with God is it. Now, I'm going to challenge you before I let go here, because I want to. I want to challenge you to think of something in your life that you can do right now that helps you extend and build upon that rock and that beautiful home. You don't have to tell me what it is, but what can you do to help you do that? Maybe it's something that you're already doing that you can expand on. Maybe it's something that you haven't thought of before that you can add to your life. It's up to you. But think about that. How can you expand?